device?
This
Are you
not
good?
coming?
Okay,
He runs
terrific.
late. That's what I heard.
Okay, so staff, we're good? Okay, very good, all right. Good evening, welcome to the Town of Emmitsburg Town Meeting for May 7th, 2018. We're beginning at 7:30 p.m. At the moment, we have with us Commissioner Ritz, Commissioner Sweeney, Commissioner O'Donnell, Commissioner Blanchard, and Mayor Briggs. At this time, Commissioner Buckman is not in attendance, but we do expect her to arrive later this evening. At this time, I'll ask everyone who has a cell phone if you would please turn it to the silent mode in respect to the decorum of the meeting. And now I'll ask if we can all stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, regarding future meetings, the Parks and Recreation Committee will meet on Tuesday, May 15th. The Town Council will have a special meeting regarding the budget on Monday, May 21st. The pool grand opening ceremony will occur Saturday, June 2nd at noon at the pool. The Town Council will again meet on June 4th here at 7:30 p.m. Are there any other meetings to announce? Mr. Sweeney, anything?
Yes, I have a Community Heritage Day meeting on May 14th at 7 p.m. at the American Legion.
Very good. Any other
You're
meeting?
welcome to come.
Sorry. Could you repeat that? I stepped on that. I'm sorry.
Community Heritage Day meeting will be on May the 14th at 7 p.m. in the American Legion.
And all are welcome to come today?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. Okay. Do we want to do this?
It's not.
Did you want me to do this now?
No, that's fine.
Oh,
That's
okay,
fine.
okay,
That's
very
fine.
good.
I'll wait.
Okay. At this time, we turn to the minutes for our last meeting, April 2nd, 2018. Are there any questions, modifications, or enhancements that we want to recommend related to the minutes?
I had none.
None? No? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the town meeting minutes from April 2nd as presented.
Very good. Is there a second for the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Great. The motion's been made by Commissioner Ritz. It's been seconded by Commissioner Blanchard. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 4-0 with Commissioner Buckman absent. We move forward to the police report. Good evening, Deputy.
Good evening. This is the police report for April 2018. Had noise complaints, 7 suspicious activities, which means people are calling in, which is a good thing. It's what we want. Theft, that was, I believe that was the Dollar General again. 12 alarms we responded to, and we had a destruction of property, and 11 911s. The traffic stops we had 65 for the month, 50 citations, 41 warnings. Parking complaint, we had 1, and we had 7 crashes, none as a result of the construction. I believe one of them was at the, another one was at the South Seaton and East Lincoln Avenue, at the Lincoln Avenue there at the, where we've had a few before. Not making a right, as the sign says, between 3 and 7. They tried to go straight across and got hit.
Jeez.
The calls for service and special assignments down there. Well, we marked our, the case numbers there for the arrests, and I applied for charges on a trespassing investigation that's been ongoing for a couple months now. I finally got that done, and summons served on that. Let's see. That's pretty much it. The additional information on the back is I assisted with the ride of Victor Cullen. I happened to be on for that. The 70 tags, that's probably over the last 2 months that I've ran the tags for the town here to get information for those. And I assisted Patrol in Thurmont with calls outside of town throughout the month, probably just like a handful. And I know over the last meeting we talked about the George and Sons trucks. I did contact them just to, say something about the speed. People were concerned with that. So they said that they would talk to the drivers. So not a whole lot, but that's it. And it was quick, but any questions for me?
Any questions for the deputy?
I don't have any.
I don't-
Mr. Mayor? Yes, sir?
Yeah, I think Georges really needs to be made aware that we're really going to pronounce that crosswalk at Patterson. You know, we built it out, we stubbed
Okay.
it out, and it's going to be lined. It won't be a school crossing where we'll have guards, but they have to be really aware that people are going to be using that.
You say at Patterson?
Am I at the right place? Right up there? Yeah,
Okay.
at Patterson and West
West Main? Okay.
That'll be, like I say, it'll be more pronounced in the future, and
The same as on Federal at West Main. Will be a marked crosswalk as well.
right, that one where that down at Federal and East Main
Okay.
has always been
Yeah.
there, but this is a brand new one up on the,
Right.
take care of all the housing back on the north side,
Okay.
so.
Anything else for the deputy? No? I spoke to the neighbors in Southgate. They were very appreciative of you being there when the baseball practices are ending. I was down there the other evening, and I can see the majority of people are under control. There are a couple people who are driving a little bit fast, but they definitely appreciated you being there, and they would
Okay.
encourage you to continue doing that. And,
Sure.
And I would as well. So thank you for following up on that. Absolutely.
Yep. No problem.
Okay.
Apologize for having my phone on, just need to get a date for something. like
Okay.
that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Be safe. Good night.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, we now move on to our next agenda, to our next meeting item.
26.
We turn to the town manager's report.
Good evening. This is the town manager's report for March. I'll highlight some of the areas related to the streets. Staff and a contractor poured a new section of concrete around 402 West Main Street and installed a new curb stop. Staff and contractor plowed for snow events, and staff and a contractor repaired several water leaks and repaired several potholes around town. Related to the sidewalk and bridge project, staff has switched some parking meters around for the sidewalk project, and the contractor dug through 2 sewer lines on the square, so staff had to make repairs along with their contractor. In the park, staff put up reforestation signs along Flat Run Creek from Emmett Gardens to the Route 15 bridge. And staff conducted an inventory of the buildings and locks for the parks and ball fields. Related to water, Rainbow Lake is still at the spillway level of 16.6 feet. The roughing filters are being backwashed 1 time a day, and the DE filters are being done 1 time per week. According to Mr. Fissel, this has never occurred. He's never been at one backwash and 1 DE filter a week. The levels at the lake are at their best, and as a result of repairing several of those leaks, the water quality is very good right now. Below that, you'll have the list of the well depth. Currently, well 3 and well 4 are off, and that's due to several major leaks that have been repaired. So there's been a decreased flow to town. For the water production and consumption, we had a backwash rate of 10.3%. And in the month of March, 73.7% of our water to town came from Rainbow Lake. Related to wastewater, we received 1.90 inches of precipitation in the month of March. We currently have a surplus of 1.87 inches. We treated an average of 566 gallons per day, and we consumed 404,000 gallons per day, which means 61.6% of the wastewater treated this month was wild water. We had no spills of untreated sewerage in the month of March. However, we did exceed the plant's design capacity three times in the month of March: March 1st, March 2nd, and March 24th, and they were due to rain events. Trash pickup will remain on Mondays in the month of May, except for Memorial Day, when the trash will be picked up on Tuesday, May 29th. Below that are listed some of my notable meetings that I attended in the month of March. Under noteworthy, staff repaired 4 leaks that were most likely caused by the flow test at the new Seton Center. All those leaks were down on West Main Street. Currently, we have an improved water quality and lower demand due to repair of leaks, which has significantly improved operations at the water plant. As I mentioned, fewer roughing filter and DE filter washes, as well as less coagulant usage. Wanted to add the pool inspection is set for May 9th at 10 a.m. The staff, the contractor, and then the new pool management company will be on site, as well as the health department. July 5th, the contractor will begin work installing the Emmett Gardens playground. Then, related to the trails, hunting season ends on May 23rd of 2018 and will reopen on September 6th of 2018. So therefore, beginning on May 24th, the trails will be open 7 days a week for hikers and bikers. There will be no hunting, and that'll remain in effect till September 6th. That's fine.
Woohoo.
Hey.
Okay. Any questions for the town manager?
I have one.
Yes, sir, Mr. Ritz.
Regarding the leaks, I can't remember the name of the company the contractor that we use for that. Are they periodically coming in to test for the leaks, or just if there's an issue, we'll reach out to them?
These leaks were repaired by staff. They were found. It wasn't as a result of leak detection.
So it wasn't
They
the-
were leaks that happened to occur after that flow test at the Seton Center.
Okay.
He will be back probably. We're flushing hydrants this week. We'll probably be bringing him back in the next couple of weeks to test again. The leak
That's like
detection
That's
specialist.
an ongoing,
Yes.
okay.
Any other questions for staff? No? Okay. Thank you. We move now to the planner's report. Whoops, let me make sure we got that right. Sorry. Planner's report.
Okay. I have Ms. Sipperly's report. She highlighted a few noteworthy areas that I'll just go over. Number 4, permits and zoning inquiries. She processed a permit for a second model home by Richmond America Homes on Ramblewood Drive. Ms. Sipperly was instrumental in the completion of the dog park. It was basically her design, and she put a lot of work into that. She ordered the dedicated benches, the wait stations, prepared all the signage. She was instrumental in it. Upcoming projects that she has, she's going to submit the reports for the community legacy projects, both the facade and sidewalk grants. She's going to submit an application for the FY 2019 facade restoration program to the Department of Housing and Community Development. That'll be the community legacy again. On the second page, projects upcoming that will involve staff review and the Planning Commission. One item will be the reapproval of the Emmitsburg East Industrial Park 2, because the approval has lapsed because it's been so many years. That's set to go to the Planning Commission on May 29th. And the Planning Commission will also have to review the Brookfield Irishtown Road approval renewal for that section, because the road standards have changed since they were initially approved on the initial design and development of Brookfield. So the Planning Commission will review it, and then eventually it'll have to go to the county.
Any questions for the town manager related to the town planner's report? Mindful that it's the manager. Mr. Sweeney.
I don't think we have a meeting. It's not on here, and I looked at the calendar out there. It's not on the calendar either for the
Oh.
planning for the 29th.
That's what she wrote on my notes, because she said she'd still be here for it. Was there a special one set?
It could be, and it's
I
not
think
up
there was a
yet.
special one set,
Oh, it had, because it's not on here, and it's not also not
Okay.
on the calendar out there.
right?
And this is for the planning commission?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So to follow up on that, Mr. Sweeney, do we need to contact members and
I imagine she's gonna be doing that. This is the beginning of the month, so
you have
they
time?
only need 2 weeks. Yeah.
Great, okay,
I'll remind her.
very good. A question to convey to her related to the reapproval of the Irishtown Road piece. There is a sidewalk gap on Timber Mill Run that, it was my understanding, belongs to the developer. And my assumption is that conveys to the new developer. And my hope is perhaps we can ask them to close that gap, all of 25 feet, sooner rather than later, perhaps this summer.
Okay.
That would be a good thing, as at the moment, the way it stands, we are not ADA compliant, and that would be appropriate.
Okay.
So,
I'll
thank you.
pass that on to her.
Terrific. Okay, any other questions for planner? No? Okay, we move forward. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Ritz.
I'd like to thank everyone who came out for our Arbor Day celebration to help plant trees. I'm happy to report that the tree that yours truly, two Mount Rugby students, Dan and Jesse, and unfortunately he's not here tonight, but Mr. Tyler Shaw, the tree that we planted is still alive and thriving. Looks like it's doing quite well. Also, to everyone who came out for the dog park opening, great turnout. I was very, very happy to see that. Looked like everybody had a good time, including dogs and people included. May 23rd, from 6:30 to 9 p.m., the Vigil and Hose Company Activity Building, formerly the Emmitsburg Ambulance Company facility, we'll be having an open house celebrating National EMS Week. They'll have health and safety activities, injury prevention information, and live demonstrations, and refreshments will be served. Just a friendly reminder. And that's all I have.
Great. Thank you, sir. Mr. Sweeney.
I'm happy to have been at the Arbor Day too. I know what tree's mine also. And we planted it all, and I've never planted a tree before, but I look forward to it growing through the years until I'm not here anymore. But it was exciting, and there was a lot of people come out, and the Mount students really helped out. The rugby team was all there, and they really helped out. And the demonstration that the 4th Street, Maryland 4th lady did was really nice, and showing us how to plant the tree. And there's a lot you gotta know about planting a tree.
Hell, not to plant.
But they're having another one in September. So we look forward to another planting in September. I was also here at the dog park opening, and that was also exciting. We had over 30 dogs here before I had to leave, run out to another event for the Lions Club. But there was a lot more dogs coming down the path as I was leaving. So the park is really being taken well, and it's being used, and everybody likes the way it is on the inside. So it was designed really well.
Thank you.
So I'm glad that they put it where it was at, because it's the right spot for it.
Well, that's a kudos to you.
Yeah, well, the ice skate ring used to be there. I don't know if Sue remembers the ice skate ring being there or not. There used to be an ice skating ring there in the old days. But other than that, come to our grand opening for the pool. So that'll be June the 2nd. And the grand opening for the square will be June the 30th at 9 o'clock on the square. If anybody would like to come, that's when we'll cut the ribbons for the square and the pool. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Blanchard.
Yes. Sound like a broken record. Same thing. Arbor Day celebration, great time. Dog park opening, that was a lot of fun also. So all the town events, great participation from everyone. I had the opportunity to attend, along with Commissioner Buckman, the Open Meetings Act meeting down at Hyattsville for the MML. Learned a lot. It was a course I had taken back in 2005, but updates, going through it, was just kind of interesting to go through it again, see what it's all about. I'm pretty sure she probably filled you in on the last meeting, so that was good. And items I put on everyone's table was from the food bank, a couple things. And if you could, Kathy, can I get you one? Sorry, but the one here does too. First one was Emmitsburg Food Bank needs. Just kind of as a list of things that they actually need right now. It kind of tells you what they don't need. And Kathy, I gave Maddie a copy of it. If Terry could put them on the town
Yes.
website, possible. That helps us out there. And we also have food giveaways. We have 4 of those in summer, and we can get those on the website also. We have quite a bit of participation with that. That's behind Elias Lutheran Church. That's basically for the Maryland Food Bank, and that includes everything from carrots, lettuce, potatoes, corn, melons, whatever they have in stock. And we serve over 300 families basically on those 4 days during the summertime. So it really helps out a lot. And say that to the events. And I think I'm good. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you, sir. Hats off definitely to town staff for the prep for Arbor Day and for the dog park. My dog liked both, just want you to know. Mr. Blanchard and I shared a tree, little
I think it's
bipartisanship maybe,
still
or
growing, yes.
bipolar, one or the other, right? Moving from there, again, thank you to town staff regarding their follow-up with the developer in Brookfield related to a speeding vehicle. And I was appreciative if you would share that with the contractors.
Yes.
Their response, that was definitely appreciated. I didn't want to step on toes and not go through chain of command on that. The pool, boy, very excited about that. I think that's great. We've heard some very positive things about that. In riding by it, it looks fantastic now. Tempting. Watch the fence. Moving from there, we had a really strong turnout on our trail day on the 22nd. For the first time ever, we had members of the Vigilant Hose Company attend, and as a result of their work, we were able to clear one full trail. About 4 miles of trail was opened with almost 9 trees down on that trail, and they cleared them in about 3.5 hours. And that includes a very good breakfast that we gave them, and later a very nice pizza lunch that they devoured. These guys, they were ready for the day. Our next trail day is coming up on, I'm trying to get the right day, the 20th. Also on the 20th, over at Mount St. Mary's, they are going to have the Maryland Endurance Challenge. And what that is a big cycling event for road riders, and that is a fundraiser for SHIP. If you remember Ed Hind, who talked about homeless young people in Frederick County Public Schools, and this is a fundraiser for them. So be mindful of more cyclists on the road that weekend, and know that they are here for everybody, for a really good cause. Beyond that, that would conclude my comments at this time. So,
I have one question for you.
yes, sir.
May 20th.
Yes, sir.
Isn't there another one in June? Or am I getting my notes?
Another trail day?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. There are 2 trail days in June. One will be on Sunday the 16th, and there will be another one on Saturday, the first Saturday of the year, on June 24th, as we get ready for Community Day.
That's right.
At Community Day, we have, we anticipate a larger turnout of road riders for the free ride in town, a 30-mile ride. We have some expectations so far, signups for the 10-mile ride, smaller. For mountain biking, the numbers are good. The bike safety rodeo announcements will go out hopefully in the next 30 days to the public schools to let the little ones know that there's an event there. And we have leaders for the afternoon rides, the Tour de Park, the 1-mile little kid ride, and the Tour de Pasture, the 5-mile ride. And I've advised all these good people that we have all sorts of food in the park, Mr. Sweeney, so to bring their appetites and not their brown bags. So they're hopefully going to be supporting everybody in that one, including the Vigilant Hose Company. So there. Does that help?
Yep.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, sir. All right, we now turn to the mayor and his comments. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Busy month. We rolled out 2 firsts for the town of Emmitsburg, the Arbor Day and the dog park. The big thing about Arbor Day, it was, besides being Arbor Day, it was community tree planting. We had all the groups were invited in, and we had the Boy Scouts. We also had Mount Rugby team, who just went up to West Point and beat West Point. The academy, which the new president of the Mount is from the academy, so it was kind of one of those what they're and they're ranked number 8 in the country going into a tournament, national tournament next month. So they're just wonderful kids. It was spectacular to have them in the Boy Scouts out there. They've just added so much to everything we did, and they added the muscle that was the tone, everything like that. These are wonderful additions to our public realm, but we have one more thing we're rolling out, and every time we roll something out, I just feel like I'm more and more humbled about what the staff has done. They were asked to do so much this year to bring out all right, let's do an Arbor Day. That was Maddie and Kathy and everybody pulled that together, and we put some fluff around it and made it something really special. But the dog park was a major thing with grants and the labor that went into that the last day to bring that about. And now we're going to come up to the pool, which is, here we go again, what the staff put in there, and just have to really appreciate what this town staff does. And then we'll have the square, which is just monumental. We have a terrific staff. We play thin. We don't have any bench strength, but who we have are stars, all of them. Some of the things that went on in the month, I opened up in April. I met with 100 firemen from the Cumberland Valley Volunteer Firemen's Association over at the museum here. And if you haven't taken stock, we have 4 archives here in Emmitsburg and 3 museums. I mean, this little town is a dynamo, plus a $40 million budget, Homeland Security, the Basilica, the Vigilant Hose, and all this stuff. It's just amazing. 100, they come in here all the time. Then downtown, they were having a silent auction at the Outhouse, the Executive Fire Officers Program Graduate Symposium. Every year they come back, another 100. Just filling the town up with people here. Met with St. Mary's, Mount St. Mary's University Athletic Committee out there. I'm a member of that. Met with John Fiesler. I spoke with John Fiesler, Tourism Council. Helen Profiter, Director of the Frederick County Office of Economic Development. And these are about something that's really exciting. It's coming. We're going to get a William Cochran. He's a public artist. And if you've been down to Carroll Creek, you've seen his work, The Bridge. And you've seen his murals around town. I asked him to come up here in 2012 to do something, and it was very expensive on a building. It was just not, had put the back burner, but his glass etching that was down on West 2nd Street at the old Independent Hose Company is up here at our museum. And we're going to be raising money to put that out and display it for people coming into town. It's firemen jumping onto a fire engine, and it's a nice etching by William Cochran. So the dream of having him as another why to come to Emmitsburg with everything else we have here. We're moving along with, met with me, Elisa McDonald twice, and the staff and I with Boys and Girls Club, and we may have that coming up here. We're very close to having that happen. Just a lot of things in balance there. I met with Wayne Green, the Chief of Staff at the Mount. We had a meeting, the staff and I, and with the Electronic Vehicle Grant Company and First Energy rep and the county rep. We're looking to have battery stations up here, and make a presentation to the board to see if they would like to go that way. With regard to the pool, it will be open Saturday, May 26th for Memorial Day, Sunday, the 27th, and Monday, the 28th. They'll open at noon, close in the evening, normally evening hours. Will not be open during the week, and they'll open next week. June 2nd, we'll have the grand opening, and the county executive will be with us there to open that. And also at the square, we'll have the county executive there and maybe another guest of ours to come over and for the opening of the square, the rededication square. But fantastic month, and again, to the staff, what they've been asked to do this last year, besides scraping snow and doing all this stuff and all the regular stuff, these are all big things for our town. They've been terrific. Thank you, sir.
Great. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We move forward to public comments.
Okay.
Mr. Slaughter.
Hello, my name is Wayne Slaughter. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I've been sort of kicking around some ideas here lately how I can make a greater contribution to this town. I'm currently involved with the Lions Club. I'm on the Seton Center board, and I have a number of other activities as well. And one of the things that I like to do is walk down to the park from my house in Silo Hill. And when I do, I pick up trash all along the way, and I throw it on out. And I've become so accustomed to doing this and looking for it that I see trash all over the place. So my proposal here is to create a volunteer community cleanup program. So this would be no cost. Basically what we would do is set up something with volunteers on a monthly or quarterly basis. We would identify some area of the town that we wanted to target, and then we would just get a pack of people together on a Saturday from 9 until noon and clean it up. What we would need is some assistance from you all in terms of removing whatever trash that we were able to pick up, and also to provide some basic public safety, so that we're in getting into trouble in one way or another. I guess the other thing is that we have to agree upon those designated areas where we would be, and I'm not entirely sure where they are at this point. Obviously, the park is a suggestion, but there are a number of roads, alleys, and things like that that I think are worth considering as well. Okay? All right. So what I would like to do is get that started so that it begins the second Saturday of July. And what I can do is write up something a little bit more detailed than what I've given to you tonight and bring it here for the next meeting, town meeting, I guess in June. And then we can finalize it at that point. The only thing I would like to do, though, is if we're going to get some volunteer participation, chances are we're going to have to advertise in the paper. I'll be happy to write a PSA and get it into the Emmitsburg Journal, so you won't have to worry about that, and would like to be able to get some notification of it on the website as well. Okay?
Great.
All right, so I have one other thing that I wanted to bring up related to that. The walkway with the exercise park. In going around that, there's what I view as an invasive vine that's basically choking off all of the greenery in there. A number of bushes and trees and whatnot are being weighed down very heavily by it, and if you look at it, you'll see that it's spreading virtually all over everything. I think you need to do something about that. I actually have this problem in my backyard. I've had to cut a lot of this away. And then related to that, I'm questioning whether or not the area could be created into something a little bit more like a botanic garden, if you'd ever given any consideration to that at all. I have some, call it close colleagues that are interested in that kind of thing, and I thought maybe we could write a proposal to create a botanic garden out of that area if that was something that the town would be interested in. Okay?
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Great
you.
ideas all around.
Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor.
I thank you, Mr. Slaughter. Mr. Slaughter is on the board with Seton Center. He's also on the EBPA board, so thank you for coming. I just forgot the Mid-Maryland United Baseball and the town. We will have a free clinic for residents of the town, kids to play baseball. Starts Monday the 18th through Wednesday the 20th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and there'll be lunch. Lunch is not provided, but so pack a lunch and drop off at 9 o'clock sharp, and it'll be at either working both areas, community and Memorial. Sign up. It'll be $130 if you live outside of town, but it's free to every child lives here in town, and already had 6 people sign up, and it just was announced today. So baseball is back. I think we're going. This group here, headed by Mr. Lowry, a town resident, it's a home run for our town. Great.
And
I'm gonna
Mr.
start clicking my phone.
Mr. Mayor, what was the date?
You should have been paying attention.
I was going to
I
ask
was
the
trying.
same
You
thing.
said the 18th, and I'm trying to make sure that.
June 18th through Wednesday the 20th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Terrific.
A
What day of the
lunch
week's
for
that?
Monday the 18th through
Wednesday the 20th.
Wednesday the 20th, so 3 days
And we-
in a row.
We'll,
Frederick County Public Schools are out by then?
The 15th,
Okay.
I believe so.
and we'll
the first week out.
It'll be on the web, and we'll get
Thank
your
you.
kids out there. You got great baseball lover, Mr. Lowry, and he's the one that was the president of Thurmont for the last 4 years when they went all the way to ESPN and all that stuff. So he's coming home to work our group. He's good. Very good.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on. Too many papers, sorry. Okay, so here we go. We now turn to,
You still got some more in the public comments.
one more time?
You got 2 more people in public comments.
Oh, thank you. My goodness. I thought we were, okay, yes, my apologies. Mr. Berman, I invite Mr. Joseph Berman to come forward. Thank you, Mr. Blanchard.
No problem, no problem.
Okay,
Well, I signed up to speak, but I have been told that my problems and issues are being addressed, so I don't think it's necessary for me to say anything else at the moment.
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
And thank you.
Look forward to working with you, and Mrs. Willetts and I will be working with you.
And due to the fact that my wife is quite ill right now, may I be excused from the rest of the meeting?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
May I go?
Sure, Mr. Mayor?
Excused.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, take care. Just trying to get it.
Anybody else?
terrific. Okay, we now turn to Karen Yoho, is that correct? Correct. Very good, okay.
Ben, it's way over there. Get
Good
there.
evening. My name is Karen Yoho, and I am running for school board. And sitting here, I'm very impressed with your small town, people say, but seems like a lot of good things. You have a lot to be proud of. I have couple of very good friends who have lived here many years, so I know how much they appreciate all the things that happen here. I just wanted to come up and introduce myself. There are 13 people running for 4 slots on the Frederick County Board of Ed. And Board of Ed is one of those elections that people don't know to keep going all the way down. I had a conversation with one of the orphan court candidates. I said, no, I think school board is below, and we are. And I'm way down at the bottom, right above Brad Young, so hopefully you'll keep going down there. We're the only part of the ballot that's going to look the same on everybody's ballot. We got to see there are 20 Republican, 20 Democrat, and 4 independent. The Board of Ed is on every one of them. A lot of people don't realize that if you're an independent, because it's a nonpartisan race, or unaffiliated or third party, you can still vote for Board of Ed in the primary on June 26th. So we'd really appreciate that, because the amount of votes we get drops way off from the bigger races. And the school board does a lot, as I'm sure you know. 51% of property taxes go into the school board budget, and the school board members decide after the superintendent submits a budget how that is spent. Policies are made by the school board members, and a lot of other things. Some of my issues are they have a teacher salary scale, because it's been hard to attract and retain good teachers, and that's so important for the students, that stability. And so the school board's already, this will be the 3rd year of a 4-year implementation, and I would like to see that continue. I should mention I'm a retiring teacher after 25 years, so it's not for my benefit because I'm leaving. It's because we've got to get in those teachers and keep them here for the students, for that stability. All studies show that. I also would like to see, whenever we can, an expansion of career tech. I was talking to Jeff Grills, who works at the Earth Space Science Lab. He started it like 29 years ago. He's retiring. And he talked about when they built that new building, it was a public-private partnership. And it was really an interesting concept. I think that's something we could look at with the Career Tech Center. My husband's an electrician. I know how hard it is to hire electricians, plumbers, things like that. These are jobs students could come out of high school with and earn a good living. And my third major issue, I have a lot more, but is to make schools warm and welcoming and safe for students. They have to feel safe and welcome, or then we're not going to teach them anything. So I thank you very much for your time and allowing myself to introduce you and get my name out there. So appreciate it.
Question.
Yes.
When you get elected in this year,
Mm-hmm.
can you bring this to the board when you get elected? Is the Lions Club of Frederick County are all interested in giving free vision screenings to the Frederick County School
Okay.
District.
All right.
We've been trying to get in for years. We do the YMCA program now. We will do it free of cost. We have enough Lions Club members, organizations in all 22 district in Frederick County. So we would love to do all the vision screenings we do Mother Seating School
Okay.
here, and some schools and private schools down in Frederick.
I will make a note so I don't
But
forget
we
that.
have enough in our area that we can cover the Frederick County schools and save Frederick County a lot of money on the vision
Okay.
screenings.
Very good.
That's what we're here for.
Excellent. Thank you. I did bring some literature. I don't know how it's best to just bring it
Sure,
on
just
up.
bring it forward, that's fine.
There's all one.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
I'll reiterate what I shared earlier. Certainly, we want to see enhanced facilities at Catoctin High School, specifically windows. For the North County, and more specifically for our community, we would love to see enhanced academic rigor. It is here, and we'd like to see it expanded. Beyond that, I'm aware that some parents are very challenged in some of the, for lack of a better description, magnet programs with the transportation piece. And that falls on the household in many cases. And if something can be done to budget for that, that would be a real benefit, is that, and that you have a lot of bright young people all over the county, but accessibility is limited. And that's something we'd like to see, especially here, because we're far afield sometimes and oft forgotten, and we hope that doesn't happen. Great. Thank you kindly.
Thank you very much for coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. We're good? Okay, good.
We do.
Mr. Blanchard, thank you for catching me.
Oh, sure.
Okay, we now press forward with the additional agenda items, and we now turn from public comment to administrative business.
Good evening. I believe everybody received a copy of the FY19 contract between the town of Emmitsburg and the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. This is the same contract that we receive from the Sheriff's Office every year. The language hasn't changed, the services haven't changed. The only change from year to year would be the cost of the contract. This year's total contract is $276,403, which is a 3.15% increase, or $8,712 from fiscal year 18. Per the sheriff, the reason for the increase will be an anticipated 3.15% salary increase and the cost of vehicle fuel, which is expected to go up. The contract has already been signed by the sheriff. Once approved by the board, it will go to the county executive, Gardner, and then to the county attorney for final signing.
Terrific. Any questions from the board for staff related to this item, or for the mayor, perhaps? No? Okay. Mr. Ritz?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
No, I'm just
Okay.
reading.
And to reiterate, making certain I heard this correctly, the duties remain the same, correct?
Yes.
It's just the scale that we're modifying related to anticipated expense increase with gasoline and a
Salary
salary hike for deputies.
Correct.
Very good. Okay, all right. Is there a motion to accept this, or are there further questions or comments from the board?
I make a motion to accept the Federal County, FYI 2019 contract for sheriff deputies for Emmitsburg.
Very good. The motion's been made by Commissioner Sweeney. Is there a second for the motion?
I'll second the motion.
The seconds come forward from Commissioner Blanchard. Is there any further discussion of this item? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes 4-0 with Commissioner Buckman absent at this time. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we now press forward. We turn now to, well, there is no consent agenda item, so that's been reported. And we now turn to the treasurer's report.
Okay, Mr. President. Sure. Town of Emmitsburg cash activity as of April 25th, 2018. $5,296,141 cash balance. April 1st, 2018. $5,209,079 operating balance forward. And as always, on the top 10 check amounts, you have the top 10 check amounts, the vendor, the description, etc. And of course, we're finishing up with the pool, so that's kind of a large one, and it's kind of an important one, obviously, to get that one done. So,
Okay. Are there any questions related to the cash activity and treasurer's report? Okay. No questions?
Nope.
Okay, very good. All right, moving forward. Is there a planning commission report, Mr. Sweeney?
No, we did not have a meeting, I'm sorry.
Great, thank you, sir. Terrific. Okay, we now turn to our regular agenda items. We have a modified agenda as item number 1, the Frederick County Harm Reduction and Syringe Service Program has been postponed to our July meeting. And item number 6, Code of Conduct Policy for consideration, has also been postponed. However, we still have items 2 through 5 and item 7 to consider. So we move forward now to agenda item 2, setting the tax rate for fiscal year 2019. Mr. Briggs, or
Actually, I'll
Ms.
take
Wills?
number 2. They're basically, they shouldn't have been two separate, that was my mistake. I made 2 separate agenda items. Your tax rate is actually approved once you approve your fiscal year budget. Just a note that the tax rate is recommended to stay the same with no increase at 36 cents per $100 assessed value. It will be adopted as part of the FY19 budget. That takes
Okay.
care of agenda item number 2.
Terrific. Okay, any questions for staff or the mayor related to the tax rate recommendation?
No.
No? Mr. Mayor, anything you want to add?
Just, get back in sequence. I have to present to you with the budget.
Sure,
If-
okay.
Agree.
All right, so are we combining them? Is that your recommendation for?
Well, I took care of number 2. Mr. Mayor can take care of agenda item number 3.
Very good,
This is his
okay.
budget.
All right, so we'll roll the two together then. Mr. Mayor, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. You've all been given a copy of FY 2019 Town of Emmitsburg budget. It's not for discussion tonight, I'm just giving it to you and with a general statement to that effect. As mentioned, the tax rate for real estate tax will remain at the current rate of 36 cents per $100 of assessment. That's no change, so we haven't raised taxes. The county tax equity will increase in our favor by 6%. Budgeted general fund revenues will increase by $88,080, or 5% over FY 18. Water and sewer revenues are budgeted higher in FY 19 based on anticipated residential and commercial activity. Salaries are anticipated to increase 2.63% over FY, I think that's FY 18. It is recommended that staff receive their steps and also a 2% cost of living adjustment. FY 18 budget did not include what they call a COLA, cost of living adjustment. So we're actually, if you're looking at it, it's 1% for each year, which is below the inflation rate. Capital funds transfers will be $232,819, up from the prior year of $218,341. Remember, the board must adopt the budget by the end of June 2018. Please email any questions you all have to the town staff so they can research the item and have the information prepared for the next town meeting. And we will have a second town meeting in this month, so 2 weeks from now. This is the only month we do this because we have our budget, and it's our tradition to do that.
I'm sorry, Monday, May
Yeah.
21st. Got it.
I can get you the
May
date.
21st.
I got it. I just saw it.
May 21st, okay. That's it, gentlemen, so here it is, look at it, and to our other commissioner when she gets here, we'll have the same statement. If you have any questions, please, now. But generally, anything on the budget, hold it till the next meeting.
First.
Email staff on anything you have any inquiries about, and we'll be glad to appropriate the time for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Willis, quick question related to setting the tax rate piece then. Does that come with that May 21st meeting, or are we going to seek to have that set tonight? That's what I'm trying
Well, it
to,
actually gets set when you adopt the budget. You can
Okay.
go ahead and,
All right.
set it tonight if you want to go ahead and approve that
Mm-hmm.
rate, and that's one less thing than you have to do at the next meeting.
I just want to make sure we don't have that obligation outstanding. So, as a board, my recommendation is we wait until we have the budget
Yeah.
set. Like, we go through the details
That
of the
makes
budget.
sense. I mean, if we drastically change something.
Correct.
I would not, I'd be
Right.
totally opposed to raise taxes, but,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, but does that jive with what everyone's
That
interested in
jives,
seeing?
yes.
Mr. Sweeney, are you on board with that?
Yeah, the current budget that we've been presented with is based on the 36 cents
Correct.
per 100.
Okay. Mr. Blanchard, are you okay that at
Yes.
that meeting we address that? Okay, very good.
And I
All
just
right.
have two questions.
Yes, sir.
One, if it's a general question regarding the budget, like, how something works out, certainly email yourself, Ms. Willits, and
Yes.
Mr. Tabler.
Yes.
Okay. But if we have, as we're going through and we see a line item, like, hey, why it's X dollars, I'd like to propose Y, we really should save that for the 21st so we're all present, correct? I wouldn't recommend doing that via email.
If you want to know why a line item is a certain number, is that what you're asking?
Or if we can assume that we historically it didn't really increase much, but maybe we need to increase something, here's why.
If you want a rationale you definitely would ask town staff if you have, I would suggest that. If you have a specific change that you're seeking to make, that would be brought to the board.
Yes.
Is that, and that kind of echoes what you're saying?
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to do anything via email
Correct.
with board members.
Correct.
Yes.
Right, sunshine.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, sunshine laws. I'm not calling you sunshine. Okay.
I've been called worse.
This is true. Okay, very good, very good.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other items or comments related to this? Oops, no? Okay. Mr. Sweeney? No other
No.
comments? None? Okay. All right, great. We now move to our agenda item number 4, budget transfer to Fund 2 in relation to the painting of 140 South Seaton Avenue for consideration.
Yes, if you recall, I brought it to your attention, I believe at the last meeting or a prior meeting, the need to have 140 South Seaton lead tested and painted as it had not been done at the time of purchase. And to bring it into compliance with MDE, it was something that we needed to do immediately. Therefore, as you can see, the breakdown of the costs related to the painting of 140 South Seaton and the lead testing. We received 3 bids for the painting. The initial testing, there was no charge. The actual painting to get it lead-free was $15,840. We had to have it cleaned after it was painted. It was $250. $305 to have it retested. During that time, we had to put our tenants into a hotel because they couldn't be on the premise. The hotel cost was $2,266.62. We also had to pay for breakfast and lunch since they were out of their home, which was $1,247. We had to provide a storage unit for them to put all their belongings because the house had to be cleared, which was $350. Due to the possibility of lead dust, we had to remove and replace some carpet, which totaled about $800. It brought the total cost of this project to $21,058.63. It was a project that had to be completed. We currently, at the time that this was prepared, we had paid to date a deposit for the painting and a portion of the reimbursement for the meals. So we had paid out $5,827. There's currently a Fund 2 balance for 140 South Seaton of $9,047, which if you subtract what we've paid to date from that, leaves $3,220 in Fund 2. The remaining amount that needed to be paid is $12,012. So staff's recommending a transfer in Fund 2 of $12,012 from the LED upgrade, which has a balance of $25,479. If this transfer is approved, it will still leave a balance in LED upgrade of $13,467. The project is completed at 140 South Seaton, and the tenants have moved back in, and the house has been retested.
And the retesting came back
We have not
green light.
received the retest yet, have we? No.
No, okay.
The paint company certifies basically why the painting is so much, is they certify that it will be lead-free. So we're just awaiting the results.
So if we find out that we don't pass the test, they'll go back in and remediate it?
I believe so, yes.
We pay no more for that remediation?
I would have to check their contract.
Okay. Okay. To the board I turn. Questions for town staff?
I just have a general question. This might tie into the budget then. How many rental properties besides this one do we have in town?
We have 3 properties that have tenants. This one on Hampton Valley and one on Crystal Fountain, and we also do rent, I believe one is $50 a year for cattle, and then there's a small piece of land, I believe on Crystal Fountain, we also rent. Hampton Valley Road, prior to these new tenants taking the place, I believe 3 years ago, was lead tested and was found to be lead safe. So we are in compliance with MDE. The house on Crystal Fountain does not need to be lead tested because it is a older house that doesn't fall under the MDE guidelines. Those tenants have been in there for 20 years, I believe.
Okay.
Do we own a house up on Annandale, near towards the lake?
Hampton Valley Road.
Oh, is that Hampton Valley Road? I keep thinking Annandale Road's out there.
Close. They're
Is that
parallel.
the last house out, the red one? Is that the one
No, I believe it's white. Sits on the left as you're going up the mountain towards Rainbow Lake.
before you get to the?
Before you get to
Crystal
the
Fountain Road?
plant and the well.
Yes,
Mhm.
you're both right. Any other questions from the board? The Fund 2 LED upgrade, was that related to the street bulbs
I believe
LED,
that was
or-
a grant that Mr. Hallard received many years ago. Is that correct, Mr. Mayor? Yeah.
Okay, so do we have any grant obligations then? That's kind of like,
No.
is that fund free and clear?
Yes.
And it's accessible?
Yes.
Terrific. Okay, very good.
And everything's been upgraded.
The LED, is that accurate?
For that project, yes.
Okay. All right, so that project's satisfied. So
I
therefore,
ask another
that's
question?
static fund. Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir.
For the LED lights, a lot of people's been asking me if we can upgrade the lights just in the town part on sidewalks, because it's a little bit, hard. They're saying doesn't throw out enough light for, evening, nighttime walking.
It is a project the staff is looking into down the road of replacing the LED lights and possibly looking at new light poles. It is something that we would definitely need a grant for. We just recently received another grant for LED lights, but they're for all our buildings. It's a separate grant.
I don't know if we have to pay for who cleans the lights.
We do. Miss Nail's been cleaning them.
I was gonna say, a lot of, since the square's getting redone and all the construction is done,
Yep.
they're really dusty, they all need a good cleaning.
Miss Nail's been painstakingly cleaning them, so they'll be ready to go for grand opening.
Thank you.
So just chasing that tangent a little bit, which I agree about lighting in the park. It might be something that our liability insurer could provide somebody to review, and they could give us a recommendation. So, for reviewing the lighting in the
Oh,
park and
okay.
the public buildings, that might be a service they provide for free with a report and recommendations. I know private insurers, not for public facilities, do that, so maybe for our own benefit. But coming full circle back to the agenda item number 4, are there concerns, or are we going to hear a motion related to approving the budget transfer? Does anybody have any concerns, further concerns, or is there,
He's done. I mean,
okay, all right, it is necessary, I agree wholeheartedly. Mr. Blanchard, any concerns?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, so I turn to the board. Is there a motion to execute the budget transfer to Fund 2 in relation to the painting of 140 South Seaton Avenue?
I make a motion to transfer $21,058.63 to take care of the painting on 140 South Seaton.
Very good, thank you, sir. Is there a
It's
second?
actually transferring $12,012.
Oh, you're not doing
Yeah. The last line down there.
Okay.
okay, 12,012.
Yes.
The last line has 13 something. Leave it.
That's what'll be, yeah, that'll be leaving the balance as. The actual transfer amount from Fund 2 for LED upgrade to 140 South Seaton is $12,012.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to $12,012.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, is there a second for the motion?
I second the motion as amended.
Thank you, sir. The motion has been made by Commissioner Sweeney. It has been seconded by Commissioner Ritz. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? The motion carries 4-0 with Commissioner Buckman absent. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. We move forward now to agenda item number 5, presentation on the ethics code and appeal procedures by town staff. And that brings us to,
Here.
that's just, I feel a little better.
Can somebody put the screen down? And
Who you want?
I have a PowerPoint for it.
Sure.
I'll make it brief.
Go. She's got to zap the thing first.
Mr. Mayor, do you need to step off the floor for a moment? No, okay. Okay.
I disappear for the evening.
Sorry, guys.
Hey now. I'll be sneaking out the back door now.
Bye.
All right. Yeah.
Mr. Ritz, did you say I second that emotion? Did I hear you say that?
I got tears of a clown, too.
Yes, yes, evidently.
I can keep going.
Hey, Don. Take care, babe.
All right, at the request of the board, I prepared an overview of our ethics code and appeals procedures. I tried to shorten it. If you take anything out of the ethics code, then you're gonna end up missing something. I'm just gonna highlight the basics that's in our code. Obviously, you have the books, it's in there. If you have any questions related to the ethics codes, please ask myself. Ms. Shaw is very well versed in it as well, and we'll do our best to answer. John Clapp is also very well versed, and he can answer your questions. It's PowerPoint. I poured, sources of information was the town code, MML, the State Ethics Commission, and the town attorney. Basically, State Ethics Commission, it is the, where's my page at? There it is. State government, basically the annotated code of Maryland requires that all incorporated municipalities and counties in Maryland have ethic laws as required by the state for their employees and public officials. So it's state law that we do have an ethics code. The State Ethics Commission basically said it is the local governments that interpret and apply their own laws. While local laws generally look and read much like the state law, local governments are free to make their own interpretations. Our town code currently conforms to the state requirements. The State Ethics Commission basically says, why do we have a public ethics law? It's basically to assure people the impartiality and independent judgment of officials and employees, to avoid improper influence or even the appearance of improper influence, and require officials and employees to disclose financial affairs and to meet minimum standards of ethical conduct. So we have an ethics commission that was established by Town Code 2.32.020 Ethics Commission. It consists of 3 members nominated by the mayor and appointed by the board. Their basically duties are to devise, receive, and maintain all forms required by the chapter, develop procedures and policies for advisory opinions, develop procedures and policies for the processing of complaints, and conduct a public information program regarding the purposes and application of this chapter. It continues, a town attorney shall advise the commission, and the commission shall certify to the State Ethics Commission on or before October 1st of each year that the town is in compliance with the requirements of the state government article. Some of the highlighted sections of our code is conflicts of interest. The little caveat or the little picture up there says I can't represent both of you. That would be a conflict of interest. All town elected officials appointed to the town boards and commissions are subject to this chapter, as well as employees are subject to this section. Basically, an official or employee may not participate in, except in an administrative or ministerial duty, they have any knowledge of the official or the employee, or the official or employee or a qualified relative of the official or employee has an interest. So not only does it apply to you or me, it applies to a qualified relative, which is your immediate family. Any matter in which the following is a party, official employee, or qualified relative. Basically, a business in which it has a direct financial interest. A business entity is an officer, director, trustee, partner, or employee. A business entity with which is negotiating employment or has arrangement concerning prospective employment. If the contract reasonably could be expected to result in a conflict between the private interests of the official or employee and the official duties of the official or the employee. Business entity that the official or employee knows is a creditor or an obligee of the official or employee or qualified relative, or as a creditor or obligee is in a position to directly and substantially affect the interests of the official or employee or qualified relative. A lot of that's kind of generic and all encompassing. Post-employment limitations, the only section down here is for a period of 1 year after a mayor or commissioner leaves office, that former mayor or commissioner may not assist or represent another party for compensation in a matter that is subject of legislative action. Prestige of office. An official or employee may not intentionally use the prestige of office or public position for the private gain of that official or employee or the private gain of another. Solicitation of and acceptance of gifts. An official or employee may not solicit any gift, may not knowingly accept a gift directly or indirectly from a person that the official or employee knows or has reason to know is doing business or is seeking to do business with the town, office, agency, board, or any commission with which the official or employee is affiliated. May not accept any gift from someone that has financial interest that may be substantially and materially affected. Is engaged from anyone that is engaged in activity regulated or controlled by the officials or employees' governmental unit, or from someone that is a lobbyist with respect to matters within the jurisdiction of the official or the employee. I'm not going to go through all that. That's basically the list, notwithstanding paragraph 3, you can't really read it. An official may accept the following. Meals and beverages consumed in the presence of the donor. So if you're having dinner or lunch, ceremonial gifts or awards that have insignificant monetary value, unsolicited gifts of nominal value that do not exceed $20 in cost, reasonable expenses for food, travel, lodging, and scheduled entertainment of the official or the employee at a meeting, gifts of tickets or free admission extended to a local official to attend a charitable, cultural, or political event if the purpose of this gift or admission is a courtesy. Gifts from a person related to the official or employee by blood or marriage or any other individual who's a member of the household of the official or employee. Disclosure of confidential information. Other than in the discharge of official duties, an official or employee may not disclose or use confidential information that the official or employee acquired by reason of the official's or employee's public position and that is not available to the public for the economic benefit of the official or employee or that of another person. Financial disclosure forms. Applies to all local elected officials, candidates to be local elected officials, the town manager, and the town clerk. A local elected official, all those shall file the financial disclosure statement required under this section on a form provided by the commission under oath or affirmation and with the commission. So all your financial disclosure forms do get filed with the Ethics Commission for their review. An incumbent local official, the town manager, and the town clerk shall file a financial disclosure annually no later than April 30th of each year for the preceding calendar year. And that's state law that set that date. This section only applies to the following appointed officials, employees, members of the Board of Appeals, members of the Planning Commission, members of the Ethics Commission, the town planner. Their form is much shorter. It's basically a statement. And theirs as well is due, as everybody's is due on April 30th. Lobbying. Basically, a person shall file a lobbying registration statement with the commission if the person personally appears before a town official or employee with the intent to influence that person performance the official duties of the official or employee in connection with the intent to influence, expends, or reasonably expects to expend in a calendar year in excess of $100 on food, entertainment, or other gifts for officials or employees of the town. Violation of this section of the chapter shall be a misdemeanor subject to a fine up to $10,000 or imprisonment of up to 1 year or both. A person shall file a registration statement required under this section on or before the latter of January 15th of the calendar year or within 5 days after first performing an act that requires registration in the calendar year. Enforcement. The commission may assess a late fee of $2 per day up to a maximum of $250 for a failure to timely file financial disclosure statements. And they may assess a late fee of $10 per day up to a maximum of $250 for a failure to file a timely lobbyist registration or lobbyist report under that section. They also may issue a cease and desist order against any person found in violation of this chapter that would pertain to the lobbying. Enforcement. Upon finding a violation of any provision of the ethics code in this chapter, the commission may issue an order of compliance directing the respondent to cease and desist from the violation, issue a reprimand, or recommend the appropriate authority recommend to the appropriate authority other appropriate discipline of the respondent, including censure or removal if that discipline is authorized by law.
Excuse me.
Enforcement. A town official or employee found to have violated this chapter is subject to disciplinary or other appropriate personnel action by the Board of Commissioners, including removal from office, disciplinary action, suspension of salary, or other sanction. In addition to the authority granted to the Ethics Commission, the Ethics Commission may refer an alleged violation of this chapter to the Board of Commissioners for consideration. Before taking any disciplinary action or other appropriate personnel action, the board shall conduct a hearing regarding the alleged violation. Notice the alleged violation and the basis therefore shall be provided to the official or employee. The official or employee shall be given prior notice of and afforded the opportunity to attend the hearing, present evidence, confront witnesses, and be represented by counsel, and all hearings shall be confidential and held in closed session. Okay, that's basically what's stated in our ethics code. So, in 2006, a attorney with John Clapp, along with the Ethics Commission at that time, developed draft rules of procedures for handling of complaints. So on February 6, 2006, Mr. Haller brought these draft rules of procedures to the board. At that time, the board recommended town manager find the best approach to developing an ethics procedures ordinance. These procedures were never approved. When Mr. Haller, with the direction from the board, should contact MML and come back with updates as part of the March 2006 manager's report. However, this was not done and no ordinance was ever passed, so that's never been incorporated in our code. What was presented at the time was draft procedures. It's unknown if the Ethics Commission or Commission, ever formally adopted these, as no minutes are kept by the Ethics Commission. I have included in here what they proposed at the time in 2006 as kind of a guideline. But again, I don't know if the commission ever adopted them. They were never formally adopted by the board, and they've never been included in our code. I'll just go through it real quick. Rules of procedures. All complaints of ethics violations and all requests for advisory opinions shall be addressed to the Ethics Commission and shall be in writing, dated, and signed by any person making the complaint or requesting the opinion. Any person can file an ethics complaint. Upon receipt of the Ethics Commission of a complaint or request for advisory opinion, a copy of the complaint or request shall be promptly provided to any respondent who is the subject of the complaint or the request. Any correspondence which is delivered to the town office and addressed to the Ethics Commission or any of its members shall be deemed and handled confidentially and shall be delivered unopened to the chairperson of the Ethics Commission. It should not be disclosed to anyone other than the Ethics Commission or the respondent any information pertaining to the complaint or the request for opinion, including the fact that a complaint or request has been made unless agreed to in writing by the respondent. The Ethics Commission should conduct a preliminary investigation upon receipt of the complaint of a violation or request for an advisory opinion. They should make a determination that the complaint request does not merit further proceedings, or they make an initial determination that the complaint may be meritorious and request that the matter be investigated further by town attorney or other appropriate persons, or they can take other action to further clarify the information to make a better determination. After that, they can conduct a full investigation where they can review documents, interview witnesses. The respondent may submit to the commission any information deemed relevant to the complaint, including proposed action which may be taken to cure the alleged violation. The respondent may be present when the Ethics Commission meets to review that information. If the commission finds that there is probable cause that a violation has occurred, the commission may, but shall not be required to, attempt to resolve any complaint informally through conciliation efforts between the complainant and the respondent. If the Ethics Commission finds probable cause that a violation occurred, it may conduct an adjudicatory hearing. If the Ethics Commission finds probable cause that a violation occurred and the respondent requests a hearing, it shall conduct a hearing. There are several options. If they find that there's been a violation, they can issue an order of compliance, directing the respondent to cease and desist, recommend to the mayor and the board of commissioners that it seek enforcement of the cease and desist through the circuit court or through an injunction or other appropriate relief, recommend to the mayor and board of commissioners or other appropriate authority appropriate disciplinary action of the respondent, including suspension of salary, censure, or removal from employment, and or refer to the matter to the appropriate law enforcement authorities. That's basically what was included in those draft procedures from 2006. On another note, legislative update March 26th of this year. Legislation was introduced in January. However, it was significantly amended in the Senate. What was proposed was that they require all local ethics commissions to have 3 meetings yearly. The amended legislation simply requires 1 meeting a year. It was also proposed a report submitted to local governing bodies to include minutes, attendance, number of meetings held, and other documents to show work performed. MML didn't have a problem with that legislation. However, their request was to make it confidential. March 26th update, it was removed from legislation, so none of this was passed and required. Ms. Shaw did some background work and looking at a sample complaint process. She found one in Connecticut that would simplify for the Ethics Commission for all involved on what the actual process was. So a complaint's made in this case it was the town clerk, it could be whoever you designate. The town clerk notifies the commission. The determination phase, the commission evaluates the complaint. The commission notifies the complainant that a complaint was received. If it's not valid, the case ends. If it is valid, they conduct a probable cause investigation to determine if there is probable cause that a violation occurred. No probable cause, the case ends. If there's probable cause, I don't see it's a public hearing. It should be a closed hearing to determine if a violation occurred. If they see no violation, the case ends. If there was a violation, Commission sends its findings and recommendations to the town council. Staff recommends referring the procedures to the Ethics Commission to develop, bring back to the board for approval and development of an ordinance to include in the town code to avoid any confusion going forward, to maybe simplify the procedures so they're easy to follow. And It's just my sites of what I used. Any questions? What? You can't read that. I don't even. It's just my sites, like YouTube and clip art and.
Any questions for staff?
Yeah, when did, the Ethics Commission, how often do they meet again?
We, our Ethics Commission, when I first started here, did not meet at all and had not met for several years. When Ms. Shaw was hired as a town clerk, one of her duties was to get the, we had several members retire off the Ethics Commission. And so the mayor recruited some members, you guys approved the board members, and one of Ms. Shaw's duties has been to organize the commission and have them meet more frequently. I think they've met, since you've been here, how many times did you say they've met?
Three times.
3 times?
I
And
mean-
they do meet this time now to review the financial disclosure forms once we have them all in.
I don't mind giving my opinion on your recommendation. I like that recommendation. My only concern was, okay, well, if we're going to recommend that, then when are they going to meet next
Yeah.
to develop the
Right.
procedures?
We, they basically, at Ms. Shaw's request, she'll send an email to the chairperson, which is Mr. Schmersall, to
Okay.
set up a meeting.
Yeah.
And then he will set up a meeting, and then they can come in. I don't foresee anything they can accomplish in one meeting. They'll probably have to come back for a couple of them. And once they make their recommendations, then town staff then can develop an ordinance off their recommendation and then bring it back to you for approval.
Any other questions for staff? One item, if we could take it to, let's back up. The Middlebury, Connecticut procedure, their process, it seems like a very rational and well-developed process. I would suggest 2 things. One, have staff contact the Middlebury Town Office and find out if this process is still used and how they're doing with it. The other item would be, if we intend to have a closed hearing as opposed to a public hearing, is that within the authority of the Ethics Committee to have a closed meeting about that? I guess I have a question about that.
Your initial, the way that I read our code and then the initial procedures, if it's during the investigative stage.
Right.
That it would be permissible in a
Okay.
closed session, because you're just basically conducting investigation. It would depend, it would be case by case basis, I would gather, of what the violation would be, if it
Sure.
would fall under a closed session or not.
Could we go to the next slide for a moment? And here's my thought regarding the public hearing piece here. Maybe we should weigh in on what the Ethics Commission thinks regarding whether they should have 2 choices there, or should it be this, or should it be closed?
Right.
And then the recommendation. So maybe we could push that to them and hear what their thoughts are.
Okay.
Beyond that, this is really great. This is, I think it's incumbent upon me as the board president to follow through to make sure that a timeline gets set and the board does see this come back.
Yep.
I guess I have a comment, though.
Yes, sir.
Unless I'm overlooking something, obviously, if there's potential litigation involving a ethics complaint, I can see the purpose of keeping that closed, but for transparency's sake, why are we not disclosing any findings from the ethics committee?
My assumption would be an accusation doesn't necessarily mean guilt, and often reputation's involved. Does that make sense? So in the preliminary process, discretion
Yes,
is appropriate?
But ultimately, at the end, I mean, wouldn't it become public if there really was a legitimate investigation, not just
Sure.
hearsay?
Return on the lights.
Yes, sure.
Especially if it involves us, we're elected officials. It
Sure,
kind
of
of comes
course.
with the turf,
Right. No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. I think if someone comes in with a grudge and their intent is to cause harm and damage reputation, if it's handled in a discreet manner initially, like, you don't announce it when it goes from, for example, in their model, the clerk to the committee, okay? Where would you want sunshine on it? Let me ask you that. I mean, how soon do you want daylight? I guess if we could go back a slide if we could. Thank you.
Maybe I'm not looking at this optimistically enough. We don't get many complaints then, do we?
No, we don't.
Okay,
One hopes not, yeah.
that's not. Maybe that's it.
I think during the investigative stage, you need some sort of confidentiality so you can have a fair and impartial investigation. If you already make the complaint public, you may or may not be giving that person a fair investigation. If you keep it confidential through the investigation, and then that, at what point then you determine you want to make it a public announcement, you know, where to weigh in on that, I'm not sure, but I can see why they keep it confidential in the beginning.
Yeah, guess things have been relatively quiet. I know some individuals and some individuals in this room weathered the storm. You know, was it 14, 15 years ago or so? So,
Correct.
yeah.
Was that me?
No, not you. You were around then. I mean, you know.
Well, I've been up for that. I've been through the ethics before also. And I had to bring legal thing and on it. But it never, we didn't have this. and
Right.
This is nice to have.
Okay.
So you support this?
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Blanchard?
Good. I like it.
Okay, so, staff, what would you like? A direction to execute your recommendations?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah,
Is there, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, yes, sir, sorry.
Just one of the key words there, this is a hard recruit to get on the Ethics Committee. These are not Mueller-type people. We got three of the finest people in town on there right now. And it comes to a chilling halt when you, all of a sudden you say you're going to have, there's going to be litigation or this, and they got to do this, they got to investigate all that. So, and when we're sending it back to them, but they're the neophytes in this area, so it may come back and they'll probably check with John Clapp. But one of the things I saw up here, it said part of their investigation, they may do this, they may. It doesn't say they shall do it, they may do it. Because if it gets down where they're interviewing people and it's this Bob Mueller stuff, and they're gone. This was a real hard recruit to get three people on here, and these people serve wonderfully, but they're not. It's got to be, if you have an ethics question, they look at it, they give it back, and that's what you got. But if you really start beating them up, then they're gone.
I agree. However, if we're coming from a world of quality assurance, maybe this is just me, but if we have a procedure, an actual procedure, I feel that the shalls shall be there. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
we may lose them.
And you're not going to get people. They don't want to do this and be sued and all these things. It just behooves everybody to behave themselves the best they can.
Well,
Because we're all amateurs, politicians, and everything.
yeah, I agree.
If I understood it correctly, I think Mr. Schmersall, this was something that he requested also, some clear-cut guidelines
Right.
on how to proceed if they were to receive an ethics complaint. So I think that would help them in their duties as well. Because it was, it was very vague, some of it was very confusing, so they don't know exactly what to do. I think this would help them.
Nothing had happened for 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
Which is good, but at the same time, I think if we have a vehicle,
like this.
it similar to this, sure, it allows more protection for all parties involved.
Right.
So that's
But
kind of what I lean toward.
I'd be a little alarmed if somebody really wanted to get on this. They really, in the past, we had one person like that. And I just want to say they're wonderful people. And as it reads, they may do this step, they may do that, doesn't say they shall do it. Anyway,
Okay,
fire when ready.
very good. So is there a motion related to staff recommendations for, I want to get the name proper, Ethics Code and Appeal Procedures.
I make a motion per the town staff recommendation to refer to refer the presented procedures to the Ethics Commission for developing a procedure. Will that work?
Yes.
Fair enough. Is there a second for Commissioner Ritz's motion?
I'll second the motion.
Very good. The motion's been made by Commissioner Ritz. It's been seconded by Commissioner Blanchard. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? No. The motion carries 4-0 with Commissioner Buckman absent. Great. Thank you, folks. Okay, we press on. We turn past agenda item 6, which we've postponed, to agenda item 7, related to public comment timing in meetings for consideration. We had hoped for a presentation by Commissioner Buckman, who is,
This agenda item was requested by Commissioner Buckman for staff to look into the timing of public comment. So staff did some research. The following municipalities have their public comment early and first in the agenda. Their most recent agendas are attached. Should be Gettysburg, Brunswick, and Boonesboro. And then you'll see the other municipalities basically have their public comment late and last in the agenda. If on page 19, you can see a sample of Gettysburg's agenda. They have 2 public comments. They have one right after the announcements, basically probably right after our meeting announcements. This public comment is restricted to the items on the agenda. It's your only chance to speak about something before it's voted on, also a chance to speak about items that are not on the agenda. And then they have another public comment right before the adjournment. And the clerk's note was chance to make comments after the items are voted on. And then on page 20 is Brunswick's agenda. And it looks like they have what they call as a citizens forum, petitions. Somebody want to say that one for me?
remonstrances?
And communications. Clerk note, I spoke with Brunswick clerk. They allow 5 minutes to make comments about any upcoming items and do not let people speak after that. If there's a large agenda item they are anticipating a lot of public comment on, the mayor or president will request anyone wanting to speak on that item wait until the agenda item is being discussed, which is something I know that you do already. Looks like they put theirs right after the approval of the minutes. And then finally, Boonesboro on page 21, they put their public comment after the approval of the meeting minutes and before any other comments. Staff really doesn't have an opinion
Commissioner.
or a recommendation about public comment.
Okay.
Commissioner.
Mr. Mayor, yes, sir.
2013, I had it moved forward, and I think you remember that?
I
And
do,
then,
yes.
then over time, it just sort of slid back. It was the same thing, a courtesy to the public. They get their 4 minutes, they get their stuff, and they want to get out of here. They don't have to wait till 11:30 or something.
Exactly.
It just sort of went back, but we did move it there.
Mr. Sweeney?
I like the way it is now when he moved it back because Wayne spoke when something wasn't on the agenda and he didn't have to stay for the meeting.
Yeah.
And so did the lady running for office. Nothing was
Early.
on.
Yeah.
They
They were
wanted to
early.
speak about the agenda and they could leave the meeting without having to stay through the whole meeting.
That's
And also, we give them a chance. I think the president of our board gives them a chance to speak. They can also do their public comment when the item comes
Yeah.
up on
Correct.
the agenda.
And I'll say that, though it's not posted in our format, the value I see in that before the vote is we're supposed to be a vehicle for our constituency. We are stewards for their community as well as ours. And when people have that opportunity to speak to the issue before we make a decision, that in my opinion, I think that's profoundly important in our democracy, where they're speaking directly to us about their concern. And again, we certainly know that we don't always agree with everybody that we hear, but it is so important that everybody has the opportunity to have their idea, their concern heard, because that's that's the most fundamental piece about our community. It's like, okay, we're going to agree or we're not going to agree, but you've had your opportunity, and that matters.
I agree.
So,
No, it's-
so that's why I feel very strongly that, of course, we have up front, I have no concerns about that, but also I do like the piece where we have the opportunity when the agenda item comes forward, the individual has that chance to weigh in, because, you know, we are their government, we are of them, we are not apart from them.
Well, the purpose of, I guess it was Commissioner Buckman that brought this forward for this evening then, was to move it up even more than where it's at currently? Was that,
I don't know, I'm not certain. I don't want to speak for her because I don't want to get it wrong.
I mean, I can understand
Or
if,
is it the time?
No, she didn't say anything about the length of time that I'm aware of.
No, it was the public comment timing, and if, I mean, I
Timing
don't
and
know if it says
sequence.
it in the minutes exactly what she wanted. It doesn't. But my understanding was, and like, I don't wanna speak for anybody either, was that it was moved up further, earlier in the agenda.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
Can we table this until she's here, because
I would
how
advise
we
that,
would
yes.
vote on
It
it.
is her issue, basically. She's the one who brought it
Absolutely.
up, so,
We don't know what she wants.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah.
there's been, can you make that as a motion, sir, to table the
I make a
item?
motion to table the timing issue for the,
That'd be best.
public comment until a later meeting.
I second.
Very good. Is there any further, sorry, the motion's been made by Commissioner Sweeney, it's been seconded by Commissioner Ritz. Is there any further discussion related to tabling this item at this time?
No.
No.
Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries 4-0 with Commissioner Buckman absent. And now we turn to setting the agenda for our next town meeting.
Don't we usually just have one item for that one?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I actually need
Or-
to
Oh.
add, one item before we discuss the budget,
Trash.
the trash. Our fiscal year 19 through fiscal year
Contract.
21 trash service contract for consideration. That contract expires the end of June,
Oh, okay.
and we did not receive any bids till, I believe it was April 30th, so I couldn't get it on this agenda.
Sure,
So I
okay.
need to add that, and then the second item will be FY 19 budget for discussion and possible consideration.
Two items.
Okay, does anybody have any concerns related to those two items for the May 21st town meeting?
No.
No, sounds good.
No? Okay, so we have unanimous consent on that. And I guess then let's take the formal vote. All right, is there a motion to accept the agenda for the May 21st meeting as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the May 21st agenda as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second for the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Ritz. It's been seconded by Commissioner Blanchard. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody against? Aye. The motion carries 4-0 with Commissioner Buckman absent. Okay, we now turn to any text amendments that need signing and/or resolutions.
Can I set the agenda for June 4th? Which we normally do, and if you bear me 1 minute.
Sure.
Ms. Shaw, beginning on Wednesday, will be out of the office until the end of May, and is trying to get the agenda prepared before
Okay.
she leaves. So if we could, approve the agenda tonight for June 4th.
Okay,
And if there are any additions come the May 21st meeting, we can
Correct.
certainly add those, but
Okay.
at least this will get the basic started. If that's okay.
certainly.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any concerns about that?
No.
We have consensus there? Very good, okay. Yes, ma'am?
First item obviously will be the FY 19 budget for consideration. Item number 2 is your FY 19 salary chart adoption for consideration. Salary chart, doesn't make any sense. Number 2, as the mayor mentioned, he's been working with Ms. Shaw on the electrical vehicle chargers. We have, the Electric Vehicle Institute and Frederick County agreements for consideration related to electric vehicle chargers. Number 4, and if it, you can cut me off if it's too much. Parking ordinances and policy for consideration that we had brought to you, I believe, in April. And I have 2 administrative business items.
Okay.
One will be the new town planner employee for consideration. We, the mayor and myself and HR will be conducting interviews May 21st or 22nd. And then administrative business, amended contract name change for the lagoon storage for consideration. So we have a current contract with EOT for the lagoon storage. EOT has turned all its rights and everything over to Denali Water. Denali Water already does work for us with our sludge. Basically talking to Mr. Clapp, you have to approve the name change. It's an amendment to the contract.
Okay.
It's a whole new company, though. It's not like doing business as.
He says it's just, they're gonna take over the lease, and it's just simply a name change, a letter from them stating that they are taking over the lease, that they are capable of doing the duties in the lease, and, they provide their certificate of insurance. We could always draft up a new lease with their name on it, but, it's basically just, was John Clapp's recommendation.
Okay, does this also include,
It's just basically a consent agreement.
does this also include the windows for hauling and offloading, like bringing in and pulling out?
It'd be the same agreements.
Same time frames and, okay.
They brought nothing in this winter, and they are bringing nothing, and they are not taking anything out this spring.
Oh, so is that why, everything went so well, nobody took anything out?
Could be.
Maybe.
It could just be reducing, literally. I mean, like the vapor content, water content, perhaps.
There's a very large crust on it right now. I don't think you'd smell anything.
Yeah, global warming.
And they had out there, they were putting, a new deodorizer or whatever they call it all the way around the lagoon. Anyway, so it's a name change.
Okay, so does anybody have any concerns about the agenda items for the next meeting?
No.
I
I was thinking of adding something, but
Yes,
I
sir.
don't want to. Because it can wait.
Okay.
That's going to be a
Understood.
full night.
I can scratch some.
No,
I can take the
I'm,
parking ordinances off if you need.
I think I can wait till July.
Okay,
Do we wanna put the one we just tabled on there, since she's not here? Or
Oh.
wait
Wait
till
till
she comes
July?
back? Yeah, we can wait till she comes back.
that would be advisable. So if she wants to,
I do have a question.
yes, sir.
I don't know if we can do it, I don't know what it would go on to, administration or the other one. But, Wayne Slaughter was here, and he would like to start that in July. So maybe we have to, he's gonna have a proposal here for the next meeting, for the cleanup.
Okay, so do we want to do that as administrative business, or do you want that as an agenda item? What would you prefer?
I didn't know if it could go on administrative, cause it's part of our green efforts, right?
I mean, I would like, did he
wanna
provide
plant,
you guys with something? He said he provided something?
Yeah, he's gonna have two things. He's gonna
He
have
will,
one-
but he
Oh, he
may
will.
not,
Okay, I
correct.
Yeah, he's gonna
misunderstood
bring
him
two
then.
proposals, and one's for a planting of wetland,
Botanical, like a
garden
botanical
thing,
garden
but
piece.
they wanna plant wetland stuff over there to soak up or use all that water up that's over their land and not being used for anything but killing the trees and stuff.
Would it be permissible for me to contact Mr. Slaughter to bring that forward for our meeting in June?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great. So on the May 21st meeting, you'll have something to share with us about, like, what his intent is, like, to firm up what his plans are?
Yes, I can do that.
That'd be great. Mr. Sweeney, would that be okay by
it's
you?
fine. I just wanna make sure,
Mr.
cause he
Blanchard?
they wanted to start it the first Saturday in June or
Second Saturday
February,
in July,
in July,
I
and
believe. Yeah, I think that would be a really good way to handle it.
And we get points for that, I hope. I mean, would that give us points for cleaning, for green and?
Wouldn't it? Yeah. For the Sustainable Maryland?
Yeah, for Sustainable Maryland, we need all the help we can get.
Sure. That works, absolutely. Okay. So we're adding that as, no, we're not. So that's something that we'll come back to on the 21st
It
for
just- if
the
we-
June meeting.
I think it could go in administrative, couldn't it?
Well,
Maybe.
if Commissioner Ritz contacts him and then brings it back at the May 21st meeting, he can make a recommendation on where it goes on the agenda.
Okay.
We can add it as an admin business or an agenda item at that time, if that's acceptable.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure of the language either.
Okay, so let's make it, let's address it as an agenda item on May 20, like, in the meeting of the 21st. Our intent is to make it an agenda item for the meeting at the start of June, the June 4th meeting.
Yeah.
Is that okay by you? Okay, okay.
So do we have to amend the agenda for May 21st?
No, because it'll be setting the agenda for the next meeting at the end of
Okay.
the meeting, so
All right, good.
that's when we address that.
And then adding, because of Commissioner Buckman not here, are we going to wait till July? We tabled it till,
Let's let her kind of, if she wants to bring it back, and I'm sure she will,
Spearhead it.
we'll let her spearhead it. Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it. That's a great way to say it. Okay, so is there a motion to accept the agenda for the June 4th meeting as presented?
I make a motion to accept the agenda as for June 4th meeting as proposed.
Very good, thank you. Is there a second for the motion?
I'll second the motion.
The motion's been made by Commissioner Sweeney. It's been seconded by Commissioner Blanchard. Is there any further discussion?
and just so I'm counting right, it was 4 agenda items and 2 administrative business?
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
No other discussion from me.
very good. Okay, therefore, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? No. The motion carries 4-0 with Commissioner Buckman not attending. We turn to the administrative business item. Is there a motion to accept the administrative business items A and B as presented?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion's been made by Commissioner Sweeney, seconded by Commissioner Ritz. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries 4-0 again, with Commissioner Buckman absent at this time. Okay, so we then turn to any items that we need to assign, contracts or whatnot? No? Okay. Nothing related to the budget transfer?
No.
No? Very good.
I make a motion to close the town meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
The motion's been made by Commissioner Sweeney, seconded by Commissioner Blanchard. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 4-0 with Commissioner Buckman absent. Good night.
Good night.
All right, gentlemen.